Hello. Alright, let's tune the music. Where's my thing gone?
Says.
Sup, smile, smile.
Hey. Won't it let me change the music? Or like lower it? Sounds. Okay. Cool. So yeah, I haven't been on for like a couple of days. I wanted to sort of have a crack at getting my skills matrix to sort of evolve a bit. So I went through the Windows fundamentals, and now my fundamentals branch has dropped down a bit. So I was going to continue doing the Linux fundamentals, and then hopefully we'll see a bit of movement here and a bit of movement up here as well. So hopefully I'll start fleshing out this matrix as I go through the rest of the challenges. So I'm guessing I watch this first. So.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another video here on Try to Hack Me. I am John, and today we're going to be taking a look at Linux fundamentals.
Thank you for the follow.
1. Embark on the journey of learning the fundamentals of Linux. Learn to run some of the first essential commands on an interactive terminal. Now, if you have had very little experience with Linux, or maybe none at all, you're in the right place. Maybe the command line is kind of a spooky thing that, maybe you're not very comfortable with it. Or maybe you've had some practice and you want to polish things up and get additional practice to really solidify those Linux skills. If so, you are in the right place. Today we're going to be going through the first part of the Linux Fundamentals series, and I recommend going through all 3 of them. And these are really going to help solidify your Linux skills into making you a professional. That being said, let's go ahead and dive right into Task 1, Introduction.
Okay, he's just going to walk through it, so we can skip that.
It turns out she's the commissioner of somewhere's police.
Yeah, I think I put on Twitter something like, have we got Cressida Dick out, in reference to that guy that they caught playing with himself in the park. It was a definite play on words. But yeah, how's it going, Uri Zen UX? Thank you for the follow. So, if he's just going to do the walkthrough, I'm going to skip the video. Bit of background on Linux. So where is Linux used? It's fair to say that Linux is a lot more intimidating to approach than operating systems such as Windows. Both variants have their own advantages and disadvantages. For example, Linux is considerably much more lightweight, and you'd be surprised to know that there's a good chance you've used Linux in some form or another every day. Linux powers things such as websites that you visit, car entertainment control panels, point-of-sale systems, and checkout tills, registers in the shops, critical infrastructures such as traffic light controllers or industrial sensors. The name Linux is actually an umbrella term for multiple OSs that are based on Unix. Yeah, I think I'll go back if I get stuck, but I mean I'm using Linux now, so I'm not too bothered. So yeah, multiple OSs based on Unix, other than the operating system, thanks to Unix being open source. Variants of Linux come in all shapes and sizes, suited best for what the system is being used for. For example, Ubuntu and Debian are some of the more commonplace distributions of Linux because it's so extensible, i.e. you can run Ubuntu as the server, such as websites and web applications, or as a fully fledged desktop. For this series we're going to be using Ubuntu. Similar to how you can have different versions of Windows, there are many different versions and distributions of Linux. What year was the first release of Linux OS? I guess we could do a poll. I know you can't do a poll, can you? I'd have to give you the answers. Anyway, let's see if I... 1991. Yeah. This room has a Ubuntu Linux machine that you can interact with, all within your browser whilst you follow along with the room's material. However, to get started, simply press the start machine. Yeah. Okay. Once deployed, the card will appear at the top of the room. Yep, we've done this before. I have deployed the machine. This is pretty easy so far. Running your first few commands. As we previously discussed, a large selling point of using OSs such as Ubuntu is how lightweight they can be. This of course doesn't come without its disadvantages, where, for example, often there is no GUI, or what is known as a desktop environment that we can use to interact with the machine, unless it's been installed. A large part of interacting with these systems is using the terminal. The terminal is purely text-based and intimidating at first. However, if we break down some of the commands after some time, you'll be quite familiar with using the terminal. We need to be able to do basic functions like navigating to files, output their contents and make files. Commands to do so are self-explanatory, so once you know what they are, of course. Let's get started with the first two of the first commands, which I've broken down into the table below, echo and who am I. If we wanted to output the text try hack me, what would the command be? Echo try hack me. Does it care about the... Oh, let's do it properly. Let's put capitals in. Oh. Does it not need that? Yeah. I think it still works, doesn't it, if you do? It's just... my box is still spinning up. Yeah, that should have been an allowed answer. What's the username of who you're logged into? Try hack me. Well, I could have just looked there, I guess. Right, okay, that was easy. Let's do the next. So far we've covered echo and who am I. Not all that useful when you consider the things we need to do, including navigating the file system. Read write to it as well. In this task we're going to be learning commands so that we can do just that. Just like the previous task, I'll display the commands in the table and the next heading to show you the examples of these commands being used. As I previously stated, being able to navigate the machine that you are logged into without relying on the desktop environment is pretty important.
Have you done like Tiberius course on Windows privilege escalation, and which box would you recommend to learn Windows since I'm good on worse on Windows, got to brush up my skills?
No, I haven't done Tiberius's course, but if it's a paid course, I haven't got the paid access yet. I was gonna try and work my way through some of the freebies, and then when I've exhausted that, I'll move into the paid content. I think Tiberius is free. Still check. Learn. It's going to be the ones. There we go. Windows progress. Right.
I know the voice gets irritating in between. Yeah, THM boxes frees you to me courses some small cost to it.
Does it not tell you who owns the... Oh yeah, there we go. Created by Tiberius. Yeah, I mean, if it's free, I'll get to this one at some point. Like I said, I'm going to work through the the freebie content, and then, or the freebie and the low entry content, and then I'm going to slowly get progressively into the harder boxes afterwards. So. Right, where were we? So we got logged in. We're going to try some of the file system commands. So we've got ls, we've got cd, cat, anything, and pwd. So it's going to explain print working directory, concatenate, change directory, and listing. In the screenshot above, we can see that there are the following directories and folders. You can probably take a guess at what to expect from the folder given its name. Pro tip, you can list the content of the directory without having to navigate, simply by using ls and the name of the directory. So you can do ls pictures. So we can't because there's no pictures. You can do ls folder 1. Or not. There's just nothing in it. cd dot. So if we do ls root, yeah, cool. Okay, so changing directory, so we can do cd, maybe we've just done it, cd folders, folder 1, try hack me Ubuntu, cd try hack me ls, cd folder 2, without space, ls, nothing in it. Outputting the contents of a file. cd cat access log. I like how the machine doesn't have the examples on it. That's not particularly good. So we can ls, we can cat. So we've applied some knowledge from the earlier tasks. You've used ls to find out what files are available, and we've used cat to read them. What's I going to say? Sometimes things like username, passwords, yes, really. Flags or configuration files are stored within files where cat can be used to retrieve them. Finding out the full path to our current directory, pwd. So if you want to see where you are, pwd /home/tryhackme. And if we were in user share pwd, it says user share. You see that? My face in the way? On the Linux machine that you deploy, how many folders are there? Where? in which directory?
Lux says,
I was not here but can recommend every Tiberius resource. Smile, smile.
Yeah, Tiberius is awesome. I'm quite looking forward to doing some of the harder content, but I feel like if I don't do the easier content, then it's just like wasted points. Like I need to do all of it, especially before I pay for it, because it's a timed resource. So. On the Linux, I've ls. Those folders, or
Yep, step by step, let it grow.
it must mean within here, surely. So 4. Yeah, cool. Which directory contains a file? Oh, we didn't find that. CD folder 3. CD dot dot folder 4. That one. Folder 4. What is the contents of this file? Cat note.txt. Hello world. And a bang. Use cd command to navigate to this file and find out the current working directory of what is the path. cwd, pwd.
Nightbot says.
You can change your TDS voice here. Web link.
Me / folder 4. Yes, you can change your TTS voice. Let's do a quick shout out for Security Live, because that's the chap that built the tooling. So. He's doing 3D prints. I've got a good 3D print. Where is it? It's all boxed up, but I've got like a whole cupboard full of like dragons and all kinds of D&D stuff that I printed. So submit that one. I could do a stream actually on sort of setting up Octopi. Searching for files, although it doesn't seem like it so far. One of the redeeming features of Linux is truly how efficient you can be with it. With that said, you can only be as efficient as you are familiar with it. As you interact with OSs such as Ubuntu over time, essential commands like those we've just covered will start to become muscle memory. One fantastic way to show you just how efficient you can be with systems like this is using a set of commands to quickly search for files across the entire file system so that our user has access to. No need to consistently use cd and ls to find out what is where. Instead, we can use commands like find to automate things like this for us.
Sharma_G_ says.
Well, you were banned there, but why? D?
Lux says.
Bot moderator suppressed a link, maybe.
Yeah, it's because I put the chat or the SO command in there. It deletes it because of the link, but I think the Nightbot link takes precedence. So instead of showing two lots of the same thing in it, it shows one instead of two. So we can use find. So the find command is fantastic in the sense it can be used both very simply or rather complex, depending on how you want to do it exactly. In fact, so much so we have an entire room dedicated to using and practicing the find command. However, let's stick to the fundamentals. Let's see what. As if there's a room just for doing find. Okay. So if we take the snippet below, the ls, we can see all the folders. Now, of course, directories can contain even more directories within themselves. It becomes a headache when we're having to look through every single one just to find out and look for files. We can use find to do this for us. Let's start simple and assume we already know the name of the file we're looking for, but we can't remember where it is exactly. In this case, we're looking for passwords.txt. If we remember the file name, we can simply use find-name passwords.txt, where the command will look for every folder in our current directory for that specific file, like so. Find has managed to find the file. It turns out it's located in folder 1 passwords.txt. Sweet. But let's say that we don't know the name of the file and we want to search every file that has an extension such as .txt. And it will let us do that too. We can simply use what's known as a wildcard, a little asterisk, to search for anything that has .txt at the end. In our case, we want to find every txt file in our current directory, and we'll construct a command like so, where find has been able to find every single txt file and has given us the location of each one. And then we have grep. So grep is another great utility that is a great one to learn about one of the uses of grep. The grep command line allows us to search for the contents of files for specific values that we're looking for. Take for example the access log of a web server. In this case, the access log of web server has 244 entries. Using the command like cat isn't going to cut it too well here. Let's say for example we wanted to search the log file to see the things that certain user IP addresses visited. Looking through 244 entries isn't that efficient considering what we want to find. We want to find specific values. We can use grep to search the entire contents of the file for any entries of the value that we're searching for. Going with the example of a web server's access log, we want to see everything that the IP address 81.143.211.90 has visited. Note this is fictional. Grep has searched through the file and has shown us any entries that we've provided, and it is contained within the log file of the IP. So grep IP is a string, access log, and it will pull out that specific line, or lines if you have multiple. If we use grep on access log to find the flag that has a prefix of THM, what is the flag? So we need to do, let's go up to the the tryhackme main directory. Then we're doing grep. What are we looking for? THM within access.log, so we can do dash. What was the name? I would just do it. We need to have. Oh shit! So yeah, okay. So we need to find dash name access.log. So it's in my root. So then we can do grep THM on access.log, and it's THM access. It's not going to let me copy it. THM access. And I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Okay, so introduction to shell operators. Linux operators are a fantastic way to power up your knowledge of working with Linux. There are a few important operators that are worth noting. We'll cover the basics and break them down accordingly to bite-sized chunks. At an overview, I'm going to be showcasing the following operators, and this operator allows you to run commands in the background. Ampersand ampersand. This operator allows you to combine multiple commands together in one line. The greater than. This operator is a redirector, meaning that we can take the output from a command, such as cat, to a file and direct it somewhere else. And then double it. This operator is the same as the single, but appends the output rather than replacing it, meaning that nothing is overwritten. So replacement, appending. So just basically more of the same. Run it in the background, chain commands, overwrite, append. So let's just jump to questions. If we wanted to run a command in the background, what would we use? Just a single ampersand. If I wanted to replace the contents of a file named passwords with the word password123, what would my command be? Echo passwords password123. If I wanted to add try hack me to this file named passwords but also keep 123, what would I use? Echo try hack me passwords123. Now use the deployed Linux machine to put these into practice. Nice work on getting to this stage. You covered quite a lot of your first interactions with Linux. However, these are most essential functions you're going to be using whenever you interact with the Linux machine. I hope this room hasn't been too daunting for you to power on through with. As I previously mentioned, you're going to become familiar with these things very quickly because of how often you're going to be using them. To quickly recap, we covered the following: understanding why Linux is so commonplace, interacting with your first machine, ran some fundamental commands, and had an introduction to navigating the file system and how to use commands like find and grep, and how to power up commands to make some important shell operators. Cool. And then we're going on to Linux 2.
Waffos says,
Hello, Slash.
Hey, what the fuzz?
Is this your first stream?
Yeah, I wanted to go through some of the really entry level intro content, and then once I've demolished that, we're going to go into some of the more harder stuff. And then once I've demolished that, we're going to go into some CTFs and sort of just work our way up into the reverse engineering and godhood.
I'm glad because I'm very new.
Oh, cool. So yeah, this is like the first taste of Linux. So if you wanted to run through it, that's the link.
Musek says,
What link?
I'm quite interested to know what that find command room gets you to do. Like,
Kit_says,
Great work, mate.
thank you, CCNet. Just finding, more finding. Oh Christ! Okay, it gets you to do quite a bit. Cool. Alright, let's finish this room. So we terminated and we've joined room 2. So that's that done. Yay!